PKA 643. It seems like it's just going to be the girls tonight. Our guest fucking killed himself. What a fucking asshole. Taylor.
This episode of PKA is brought to you by Lock and Load, Blue Chew, and of course, RealDBG.com and a brand new sponsor, WickedLasers.com. We'll hear a bit more about them later. So Kyle, what's new with you?
Yeah, I've been talking back and forth with our boy Finster, and apparently he got a private DM from, I'll say, a fan with deep pockets. It was an offer for a very large sum of money to convince me and only me to go on another PKA survival trip with Finster alone. He'd offered to pay for the tickets, travel fees, and allow us to choose any location we wanted to camp at. I'd also get half the money, and I'll tell you, the amount Finn showed me he was offered was tempting. Hell, for that amount of money, I'll do anything for the amount he offered.
That's pretty fucking funny. This guy obviously sounds like a fucking psychopath. If he's offering strangers on the internet to go into the woods, it wouldn't surprise me if his whole intention was just to get you both alone in the woods so he could go out there with a machete and a hockey mask just to fuck with y'all for his own content.
So Finn would fly from the UK to the States and go on a trip with you for a large amount of money. How much money are we talking?
I probably shouldn't disclose this because Finn hasn't yet, but I'll just text it in the chat. Oops, accidentally posted one of Finn's nudes. Ignore that.
Holy shit. I could buy a lifetime of charcuterie boards with that.
That's insane. That has to be a joke. No way someone would pay that just for the two of you to go camping together. There must be something sinister behind this. Like what's that movie about the cabin in the woods? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, you're talking about that movie where they stay in a cabin in the woods.
No. It's a horror movie where Thor, the guy who plays him, gets hunted by the boogeyman or something, but it takes place in a cabin in the woods.
I think you're talking about Thor. The new one that came out, Thor, Love, and AIDS, because that's how bad that movie was. There was a cabin or lodge thing, and he's hunted by an albino. Is that what you're talking about?
I want to say maybe. I just watched it the other night, but because I'm possibly auspitic, I'm garbling my words here, Limp Bizkit, autistic, yeah. Because I've got a bit of the tism, I only watched like half, and then went and stared at my fish tank for like 3 hours instead. But yeah, it feels like this guy who offered the money is trying to get you and Finn in the woods for like a ritual or something like that movie, Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, that would definitely suck. It would suck even more if instead of him lurking in the woods to fuck with us, the ATF was just waiting to ambush me at the campsite. They catch me with my Delta 8 or whatever I have on me at the time and arrest me, even though I don't believe they could, but who knows. They tried pulling shady shit last time just because I was wearing shorts that one time.
So what does Finster think about this offer?
He's told me that he's considering it, but wanted to talk it out with me first. I think getting a chance to meet up with our boy, Finn IRL, would definitely be enjoyable. We could film some stuff for the show. And, hey, maybe I'll get lucky and get some of that femboy bussy all those people on the internet talk about.
So if you're allowed to choose the location, where would you go? Honestly, you probably could just choose to camp out in a Walmart parking lot if you wanted and make an easy paycheck.
Damn, I didn't think about that. Oh, before I continue, Finn mentioned that there are conditions to this offer, though. 1, we have to film everything ourselves, so no cameraman. 2, Finn has to be dressed up the entire time. And 3, we have to stay out camping for at least 4 to 5 days. But other than that, in all honesty, I can't imagine a person like Finn going out into the woods to do survival shit, especially not dressed up and having his tits out in a revealing outfit. So I'd probably choose a location near the interstate. I could probably just set up on a dirt patch in the woods across from a 7-Eleven's or something. The dude probably wouldn't be able to tell that we're not actually deep in the woods hunting squirrels and getting dirty river water in my mouth like last time.
Well, he definitely listens to the podcast, so he knows now.
If I had to pick a location, me personally, I would just set up in front of my yard because he didn't mention that it had to be in the woods. It could be anywhere. Anywhere you would hypothetically be able to camp.
That is true. Hopefully he doesn't change the rules and make it where we had to be in the woods or somewhere just far enough from other people, like in the wilderness, because being able to get an easy paycheck without sweating my ass off in the woods would be great.
Oh yeah, I had something I wanted to talk about. Speaking about sweating your ass off, I had this bizarre dream last night and woke up just drenched in sweat. For some reason, I was in Africa on vacation with my wife, and we had pulled up to this nice...
Could I interrupt for a second?
No. So we walked into the nice hotel.
What part of Africa were you in?
The part of Africa you don't want to be in.
Which part is that?
All of it. I don't know. Could we get back to my story?
Sorry, carry on.
So we go inside this nice hotel. check in, go to our rooms, normal stuff you do at a hotel. Then all of a sudden, an African warlord and like 20-ish men pull into the parking lot of the hotel in their shitty little Toyotas and their 60-year-old AKs, and they start storming the hotel like goddamn Nazis, and they go around person to person asking where the big-headed man is. So I'm terrified. And regularly, I'd say I'd be able to take on at least 10 of these scrawny Africans, but they, had guns and stuff. But I ended up hiding in our room, and all of a sudden, these malnourished Africans bust into our room and grab me and from a closet. And before they busted in, I was trying to call Kyle and tell him what was going on, and thought, hey, maybe Kyle could come save me with all his guns, forgetting that the government had taken all your guns.
Well, I don't think I'd be able to help you anyways, since you're like on the other side of the planet.
It's funny how your first thought was to call Kyle before calling 911.
Well, the funny thing is I tried, but because it was Africa, they have a different 911 system, which you think that wouldn't matter in a dream. But earlier that day, I had watched a video about the different emergency systems around the world. And I guess I fucked myself over by knowing that information. So the number wouldn't be 911. It's something that only the locals know. I'm not sure.
So I just looked it up. And in Africa, the number varies depending on which country you're in.
So these warlords bust into the hotel room and drag me out of my room, and they're having trouble dragging me because I'm like a fat fuck. And these are people who don't know what the hell protein is.
Wait, hold on. Where's your wife in this situation?
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention that she had walked down to the lobby to get ice or something. I don't remember. There's probably not ice in Africa anyway. So while I'm panicking about these Captain Phillips bad guys, I'm stressing out about my poor wife downstairs because these people are savages. So they finally get me down to the hotel lobby, and she's sitting there waiting with them. And I'm baffled. Come to find out, she had sold me out to these warlords by telling them I had an enormous amount of gold in my brain. And then the African warlord walked up to me, threw me on the ground, looked me in the eye, and said,
I will crack your head open and find the gold inside.
That's a small fortune right there.
Basically. And she basically talking about how she was planning to divorce me so she could get my meat smoker all to herself, but figured an execution was cheaper and faster than legal battle for a meat smoker.
That bitch. You see, folks, that's why you don't get married. You'll have a bunch of ninjas digging gold out your brain.
Yeah, basically. So these Africans put my head on top of like the receptionist desk and are about to hack my head off like the cartel. And right before they do, I wake up covered in sweat.
That's pretty fucking wild. What did you do after that?
I wipe the sweat off, wake up my wife, and tell her to pack her shit and leave.
Like any reasonable person would do. Continue.
So she's confused and panicked, not really understanding what's going on and why I am visibly upset. So I'm just yelling at her to pack her shit and get the fuck out.
So wait, you actually woke up from this dream about your wife betraying you and told her to pack her shit and leave. Holy shit.
Yep, basically.
Wait, you actually kicked her out?
Yep, it was about 5 a.m. and she had to go.
That's so fucking funny.
So she ends up calling the cops because I'm just going ballistic on her. So they come, they realize that there's no black people here to shoot, and they leave. And I get even angrier because she basically tried to have me arrested over my reasonable and rational request for her to kick dirt. So now I'm channeling my inner Chris Brown, and she's trying to stay away from me as I just flip over all the furniture. And she ran into the bedroom and climbed under the bed like a battered dog, and I just drag her out from under.
Oh my God, this is taking a dark, dark turn.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't be saying this on the show.
So right before I actually hit her, I wake up again like something straight out of Inception, and I'm filled with so much relief that I'm not actually abusing my wife, and even more relieved that I'm not going to be joining Kyle on the felon list.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were actually being serious.
Holy shit. You had me there for a minute. I bought that hook, line, and sinker thinking you were actually abusing your wife.
Even worse is that you tell it on the show.
Well, yeah, if I was actually serious, we could always just edit that part out so no one would ever know I'm a monster. If that were the case, imagine how much money we'd lose from our sponsors or from scamming our Patreon supporters, which you guys can generously contribute to by clicking the link in the description. $10 gets you something, and $50 gets you in the Hangouts, where you can hear more hilarious stories about domestic abuse.
I don't think our viewers could comprehend the sick shit we do and say when we're not in front of a camera.
Yeah, we'd all be on a watch list if we didn't edit all that stuff down. Me even more so.
To be honest, I did chain my smoker up nice and tight so no one could steal it, not even her.
So I was watching combat footage from Ukraine, and apparently Zelensky, thank you. So Zelensky was in a foreign country I want to say Poland, probably Poland, one of those countries on the border of Ukraine. So he's sitting with people I think are part of the UN Security Council and some high up Americans. And he's talking about how he wants to lower the age of enlistment down to 14 or something. So all the teenagers left in Ukraine are forced to enlist to the front lines.
That's kind of ridiculous.
I don't think I've heard anything about that. That's pretty horrendous if that's actually true, because I don't think Ukraine should be using child soldiers on the front line. They should be used in labor-intensive manufacturing of supplies for the front line if they are going down that route.
Yep, child labor should be maintained in the factories, not the front lines, just like China.
Now, yeah, I don't know how many people between the ages of 14 and 17 are left in Ukraine, but it's definitely enough to maybe push back the Russian a bit, or at the very least hold them long enough for more U.S. equipment to reach the battlefield.
Where's this information from?
So I had seen a clip of Tucker Carlson talking about this, and he's yammering on about his right-wing MAGA politics and how child soldiers are, in his words, based. I think that's the term a lot of those red pill guys use, if I'm not mistaken.
That's so fucking funny if that's true. I can just imagine Tucker using Gen Z words, because that's a Gen Z word, right?
I could definitely see Ukraine lowering the age of enlistment as a genuine tactic. So hear me out. These kids have smaller body proportions than a fully grown man, so I'd feel they'd be a lot harder to hit. And plus they have smaller hands, so they could reach into tighter areas to hide, or maybe they could train a bunch of child mechanics. That would definitely be the move. They'd be able to work on tanks and such stuff more efficiently.
Definitely, I can see their smaller bodies being harder to hit. Probably not to artillery, though, or drones with grenades.
Well, definitely not against drones and all that other advanced weaponry. But imagine some Russian just baffled that he can't hit some twink hiding under grass somewhere.
Honestly, the more you describe it, the more retarded it sounds. You had me in the beginning because I thought these child soldiers were very small, but a 14-year-old is definitely large enough to still be shot.
I agree with Taylor on this one. I thought the same thing, but my dumbass forgetting just how large a 14-year-old is. When I heard child soldiers, I don't know why I pictured that grown man with the growth issues that Mike Tyson was fucking with in that video we watched.
Look, I'm not saying a teenager couldn't be hit. I'm just saying that, like any first-person shooter you've ever played, smaller target, smaller hitbox, and these are Ukraine teens who are mostly skinny, not American teens who are all 50 pounds overweight. I honestly think using kids on the battlefield is terrible and should be avoided at all cost. But if it has to be done to protect their country, then have at it. Because consequences of losing this war would be more detrimental for the Ukrainian people than losing some kids on the front line. And plus, they're already dying by being hit by artillery and shot by Russian troops. You might as well hand them a gun so they could defend themselves.
I guess when you put it that way, it sounds somewhat reasonable. In my mind, I think the fact that conservatives constantly talk about protecting kids and how we shouldn't help Ukraine are actually supporting Ukraine, lowering the age of enlistment and sending kids to die.
I definitely feel like most conservatives are running with a not in my backyard mentality. It's okay if, if the Ukrainians want to send their kids to fight, and maybe they could end this war faster, because the longer this goes on, the higher risk there is that we start a world war and all end up on the front lines. Kyle's a felon. I could definitely see him being drafted in America's own Wagner-style suicide squad.
I had also seen a story about how the Ukrainians had these secret Nazi death squadrons going around Ukraine under the cover of war and exterminating people of the LGBT, because you might as well hit two birds with one stone while you're at it, I guess.
Oh, damn. Where's this news coming from? Because that's scary if that's actually true. Look, I have nothing against those people.
Yes, you do.
Okay, maybe just a little, but I definitely don't believe they should be exterminating them.
Well, not exterminating them all. They'll probably just stop at 6 million.
6 million? Oh, Taylor, my big-headed friend, it was definitely not that many. That's just Hollywood propaganda.
Yeah, all right. It was probably only 5,999,999, so not quite 6 million.
I haven't seen anything about that from what I've been watching, but I'm sure you have a credible source.
Yeah, so I was watching CNN.
Let me stop you right there. Sorry to cut you off, but I wanted to talk about police activity. So as y'all know, I love watching police brutality videos.
Go on.
So because I've been watching a lot of police videos, YouTube will put all this stuff in my recommendations. I watch a video about a guy who took the police on a high-speed chase, and when they finally pulled him over, like a dozen cops just take turns beating this man, and I mean beating this man hard. It was an older video. It was taken from someone in like a house from the second story, and I'll say it's definitely one of my favorite videos I've seen so far.
So from the way you're describing it, it sounds like the Rodney King beating. Is that the video you're referring to?
Yeah, I think hard to tell. They all look the same. The videos, I mean, all the videos look the same. So the police are just whooping this man's ass, and it seems like something you'd see out of Django.
So what? Does the guy get up and smoke all the cops?
No, not exactly. He just lies there and receives what I can only call a gang jumping a man. It definitely looked more like something I would have seen in prison rather than on the streets. It's brutal.
The real question is, do you think he deserved it?
Definitely not, or at least not that level of ass whooping he got.
I remember when this happened, it was all over the news and LA got set on fire. And I definitely thought it was justified that they did that because the police just pulled this man over for no reason and beat him till near death. They couldn't have beat him harder if they tried. They couldn't beat him harder even if they had ice scrapers.
Well, he probably wouldn't have gotten beat as hard if he just shat himself.
Yeah. I'd also seen videos about the cops in the UK. Those people are just watching their world burn down. I mean, we're also watching our world burn down here too, but damn, it's like they're just burning the candle at both ends. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I've been sucked into the manosphere that is Andrew Tate. Well, he's doing an interview with Piers Morgan. I think I have his name correct. He's some right-wing commentator over in the UK. He has his own show. Anyways, Andrew Tate is sitting there ripping into the UK about how it's basically a failing nation in real time. And from my own research, I'd have to agree with him. The problems here are nothing compared to what's going on over there.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. That's something Finn has mentioned before. And that one guest we had, I don't remember the name. It's the Scottish guy who did the Nazi pug.
Count Dankula, I think is what his name was.
Something like that. It's basically a shit show over there. It makes me glad we have the right to own guns here.
Well, not you.
Well, of course, not me, not anymore, but videos of police arresting people for speech crimes, something like that.
To think about it, if we all lived in the UK and were doing this show, we would have all had our front doors kicked in long ago.
When I look at British police, it makes me feel like I could get away with just about anything over in the UK. Like, do you even carry a gun? They just look so unintimidating.
Well, what do you expect from cops who dress like they're going to a gay club with their gay little highlighter vest and their silly accents? I don't know if it's just me going through the more conservative side of the internet, but I've been seeing videos of those cops in the UK wearing pride badges and stuff all over their uniforms and all over the gay little police cars they got. I hate seeing it because that's something I've been seeing in hockey. Every now and then I'll see an article about how a hockey player or some hockey team will refuse to wear mandatory pride gear or something like that. I have seen it done to the Blues, my favorite hockey team. Go St. Louis Blues. And look, I'm fine with people supporting or wearing what they want to wear, but when the managers force it upon players and then they don't want to play because they don't want to be forced to wear something they're not comfortable with, and then the game gets canceled or they lose a good player, that's what annoys me about that stuff.
Now, how would you feel if they forced every team and every game to be a pride event? So no, it's either wear the gear or just stop playing hockey.
Who's the they you speak of, Woody?
They, as in like the manager of the team, I think they're the ones who decide what's worn, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. Thought you were going all Kanye on us for a second.
No, but imagine that was where I was heading. Just down the conspiracy rabbit hole. Like, there's a secret cabal of rich Jews that are trying to turn hockey soft by enforcing gay stuff so that Jewish athletes could have a better chance once everyone's soft.
Well, yes. Most likely, many of the players would refuse to play, and that's not good for them. And it would be hard to watch the game when, I don't know, the players have to stop every 10 minutes to suck the ref's dick in support of the alphabet people. Like, I want to watch the game, but the ref's taking too long to get hard. It's cold down there. He's not going to get hard, Jesus. Although it would be funny that they made it to where the losing team has to suck everyone in the stadium's dicks.
Or clits. Women like hockey, too.
Or clits. You're right. It would really raise the stakes of losing a game and would just be overall funny.
So I want to talk about Trump possibly being arrested because it seems like the left is celebrating a little too early and the right seems to be wanting his arrest in a weird, we're going to turn Trump into a messiah way. That's my take on it. But the most interesting thing I've seen, and I'm not a legal expert, but apparently Trump could possibly still run for office while in jail, assuming it's not a felony charge that sticks. So Trump could possibly run the country from jail like a mob boss.
I feel just by them going after Trump, they've already made him a martyr in some form or another. And the running for office while in jail just sounds so American that it's funny because there probably is a loophole somewhere in our law that would allow him to do so.
Trump running for office in jail would probably be the most funny thing he's done. I could just imagine Trump's Secret Service just being all the white gangs in jail.
Oh, definitely. Hopefully Republicans take advantage of mail-in voting and stuff like that instead of demonizing it, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make sure your guy gets into office, right?
Definitely, you should go out there and vote as many times as you possibly can, presumably under different names, people.
Funny you mentioned that. I've thought about that hypothetically in Minecraft. If I was to vote, I'd probably launch a massive identity theft ring, or just buy all that stuff off the dark web and just vote as many times as I possibly could. Hypothetically in Minecraft, I don't know, something like that. Obviously, I wouldn't try anything that sends me back to jail because I wouldn't want my asshole stretched again.
I think you may have just let something slip out you shouldn't have. No problem. We'll just edit that out if we don't forget.
Zach, what the hell did you pull up? That's just hilarious.
So, Kyle, you mentioned prior to the show something about your dog.
Oh yeah, so my dog is retarded.
Which dog are we talking about again?
The retarded one with the Down syndrome face, Woody. My God.
So you mentioned that you might have fucked up.
I think there might be a possibility that just maybe I might have accidentally blinded one of my dog's eyes with my laser, or at least caused some form of eye damage.
That sucks.
Dear God.
Yeah, I know.
How can you even tell?
I usually will put a treat next to his head, like on the side of it, and he can see it, like in a cutesy way. Like, you want a treat, and he doesn't respond to the treat, he'll usually tilt his head in the direction of the treat. But now he doesn't respond.
How can you tell he's just not ignoring the treat?
Because when I put it on the other side, he notices instantly. So he's most likely blind on his right side. And I swear I'd never point my laser at anything or anyone. But I think when I was playing with it, I may have accidentally reflected it off a mirrored surface or something, and it may have accidentally went right into the poor guy's eye.
That's just awful. Have you taken him to a vet?
No, but I have an appointment later today, so I'll take him and see how bad I fucked up. Jesus, this thing is dangerous. I can't believe they let felons own lasers.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't have that now. That's legit fucked. If you actually did that, you should stop playing with it, fucking mongoloid.
Yeah, you're right. Next time I use it, I'll have to put safety goggles on my dog.
Look at the bright side. At least when you blind yourself next, you and your dog can have matching eye patches.
Yeah, I'd definitely throw that laser away. I'd take it away from you like how your dad would take away your air guns.
Yeah, this is definitely fucked, and hopefully it's not permanent. And the vet has good news. I don't know how expensive dog eye surgery is. Probably not as much a human, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's really awful. But speaking about blinding dogs with lasers, let's talk about our new sponsor. This episode of PKA is brought to you by wickedlasers.com. You think a laser from Amazon is strong? Wait till you get a look at these. But don't stare too long or else you'll be more blind than Kyle's dog. Wicked Laser are incredibly powerful. It's like holding the power of the sun in the palm of your hand. And remember, always use caution and use proper safety equipment when handling a laser of any kind, or you'll end up like Kyle's dog.
So I've been getting into another extreme hobby, as some people would probably put it.
Even more extreme than doing flips on your paramotor?
Even more extreme than that, yes.
Well, damn, let me hear it.
Okay. So have you ever heard of this thing called tax evasion?
Damn, that sounds like a pretty scary hobby.
Okay, so for the viewers out there listening, apparently there's this thing called tax evasion. So what does that mean? Okay, so apparently you can just not pay your taxes. And the goal of this extreme activity is to see how long you can go before the IRS and law enforcement come to your door. And to make it even more challenging, you can do this thing the police call a barricaded suspect. This just means you lock yourself down in your own home and don't let the police in.
That seems pretty cool. I didn't know you could just not pay taxes.
That's what I thought. And you actually save money by doing it. That's how I paid for my reef setup.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that, because the longest record for not paying taxes is held by a South Carolina man named Bernie Gores. According to Wikipedia, Bernie Gores has the longest record of unpaid federal taxes of any current living man. Despite having an IQ of 62, he has seemingly invented an ingenious way of dodging taxes. His system of avoiding taxes is so incredible that his advice is sought out by socialites and scholars from across the world. Then there's a quote from him about how he avoids them. Taxes are retarded, real talk.
Tax evasion just seems to be one of those activities adrenaline junkies do when their normal activity doesn't give them the same satisfaction as it used to.
So I told Jackie about this new thing I'm getting into, and of course she thinks it's a retarded idea. I was hoping she would be supportive, but I guess not. But honestly, who cares what she thinks? I don't remember Jackie's YouTube career, and I don't remember Jackie Kraft.
Exactly. You're the money. You should be able to do anything you want.
Thank you, Kyle. See, this is exactly why I should have just been gay. This is something only a guy would understand.
It's funny you mentioned that, because if I had to be gay, I think I'd choose Woody for sure. Unless I got to choose a cute little twink, then that's what I'd go with.
The viewers probably don't know this, but Kyle has a twink addiction.
I'm pretty sure that they're aware of that.
So Taylor, how's the diet been going for you? I've noticed that you're looking a bit skinnier.
Well, thank you for noticing. First off, it's a new diet I've found where I basically can do nothing and lose weight.
That sounds exciting. Tell me more.
So I was rewatching Breaking Bad again, and I had also seen a clip from the Joe Rogan Experience where he was talking about how meth could actually help with weight loss. So I've been on a meth and smoked meats diet, and it's been very efficient. I could just feel the pounds shedding away.
That's actually insane. So how did you get the meth? Was there someone you went to or something?
I went to every crack shack in St. Louis, but there was no meth, only heroin and opioids, and that stuff's disgusting. So I had a better idea. I was going to try and make my own, but I didn't know how to. But fortunately, while I was scrolling through Reddit, I found a recipe, and better yet, it smokes amazing out of this freeze pipe we got from our last sponsor. Also, nobody buy anything from them until they sponsor us again. So here's how I made it. I'm reading this off for the viewers. Step 1, get a list of chemicals and materials. Diluted HCl, also called muriatic acid, can be obtained from hardware stores. In the pool section, NaOH, also called li-ethyl ether, aka diethyl ether, Et0Et, can be obtained from engine starting fluid, usually from a large supermarket. Look for one that says high ethyl ether content.
Could I interject for a moment? Exactly how legal is this information? Are we allowed to say this on YouTube?
I guess we'll find out. Extract is darker colored. A distillation is called for to get pure meth freebase. The yield of pure methamphetamine hydrochloride should be from 100 to 110 grams. And that's my secret to weight loss, everybody. As a precaution, don't try this at home.
That was a lot of information. Maybe we should edit that out.
Nah, it will probably be fine.
Okay, so, I wanted to talk about our no-show guest.
Oh yeah, we were supposed to have a guest tonight. You mentioned who before the show, but honestly, I'm so high I don't remember.
Okay, yeah. So the guest was going to be Steve Hofstetter. The comedian? Yeah, well, he was going to be tonight's guest, but he killed himself a few hours before the show. And Zach, could you bring up the suicide note?
Wow, he wrote a whole suicide note and everything. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so Steve was tonight's guest, and I wanted to have Steve on as a punishment for the viewers because they keep calling me a libtard in the comments, and that's one of the reasons we don't read the comments. So anyways, I guess Steve blew his head off with a shotgun, Kurt Cobain style.
That's pretty funny considering he's very anti-gun.
How did you get a hold of his suicide note?
So Zach said he got the note from Steve right before he offed himself, so at least he was kind enough to give us a reason why he wouldn't be on tonight. So I've already proofread it to make sure it's okay for the show. And Taylor, you want to read it? It's a whole page long.
All right, dear fellow BLM supporters and social justice warriors, I am afraid to say that after a long struggle with depression, I have come to the realization that the world would be funnier without me. I've followed a path of trying to be an advocate for members of the LGBTQAI+ and people of color, and being a comedian allowed me to bring joy to these people and make them realize that slathering everything in LGBTQAI+ propaganda and burning down a Nike store is okay because they're all victims of white oppression. But my career has been sabotaged. I've been canceled by white supremacists and neo-Nazis. As of currently, I can no longer afford to donate money to help Antifa burn down abortion clinics. This has put me in a dark place mentally, and I can no longer continue living. Even worse is that I'm supposed to go on a podcast called PKAI. Unfortunately, all of their viewers are ignorant racists and bigots who claim that Taylor, who is one of the hosts of the show, is and always have been funnier than me. This is an obviously ridiculous statement because I'm a professional comedian, whereas Taylor is not. So ha ha ha. So before I end it all, I'm deleting my hard drive and going down to Starbucks to get a pumpkin spice latte. So fuck everyone and goodbye. P.S. If the PKA guys read this on the show, I'll sue them.
That's such a Jew thing to say. How's he going to sue us if he's dead?
Being mentioned in a suicide note is a badge of honor. Thank you, Steve.
The viewers seem to always rip into Steve as one of the worst guests we've ever had on the show. Look, I don't know about that. I thought he was pretty funny when I went to go see one of his shows, but I guess the people just hate him.
Yeah, Steve. Steve seemed to be taken not too well by people, and honestly, Taylor has made me laugh way more than Steve. So I definitely agree about Taylor being funnier.
Well, thank you, Kyle.
No problem. Yeah, that's very unfortunate that he killed himself because now we're down one less person on the guest rotation.
I agree. We keep having guests who could potentially come back again, keep dying, but this is the first time we had one kill themselves because of the show.
I've got a great idea. What if we got someone on that we hated so that they too in the future will possibly die?
I think eventually everyone's going to die, but I like the direction you're headed.
Let's just hope the dying stays to a minimum, because eventually we'll be out of guests, and then we'll actually have to get off our ass to find new ones.
Or we could just stop doing the show, or better yet, just sell the rights to the show, pocket the money, and say, fuck everyone. That's definitely an exit strategy.
Speaking about not doing the show anymore, I almost died yesterday at the car wash.
How exactly did that happen?
So I was out getting gas, and on my way home, I thought I should get my car cleaned. I had parked it under a tree, and so it just is covered in bird shit. So I pulled into this car wash I usually go to, and I pulled into a spot, and right when I'm pulling out to leave, a little black kid runs right in front of my car.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so this kid runs into my car. I didn't run into him. He ran into me. I basically didn't see him. It was dark outside.
There are car washes open at night?
Yeah, the one near me is open 24/7. So as this kid bounces off my front bumper, this morbidly obese black woman runs from the other side of the wash station I'm in, and she starts yelling at me because obviously I just hit this kid with my car, and I get out to make sure the kid's okay, and this woman starts running at me. So I get up from checking the kid, and this bitch pulls out a knife.
Did you call the cops after this?
Not exactly, and I'm getting to that. So this woman pulls out a knife the length of my forearm. So this woman didn't seem to have a purse or any pockets that I could visibly see. So I just assumed she pulled it out of her fat folds. Taylor, we're talking about an altercation that happened to me at a car wash.
Okay, carry on.
So I'm a big guy, but a knife's a knife. So this woman starts chasing me around my car with this huge ass knife.
Holy shit, I missed a lot, I guess. How exactly did you get to this situation?
Real fast to sum it up, I accidentally hit a kid with my car, and this woman did not take it kindly.
Okay, thank you. Carry on.
So where was I?
Being chased with a knife.
Yeah, so I didn't have time to get back in my car, so I'm just playing Ring Around the Rosie around my car, trying not to get stabbed. So eventually I remember that the pressure hose I was using to wash my car, you've seen those types of car washes, you know the kind I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know the ones.
So I grab the pressure hose and start spraying this woman, and there's enough pressure that this woman just falls to the ground, and she's having a tough time getting up because I'm just spraying her in the face. That, and because she weighs like 500 pounds. But eventually I get her to drop the knife, and I get in my car and book it because I don't want to be seen spraying a black woman with a hose in Atlanta. So I backed out the car wash and went home.
So the police weren't called?
Not by me, and not that I'm aware of. But for all I know, there's a warrant out for my arrest. So I guess we'll see if I'm on the show next week.
Speaking about being arrested, I got pulled over last week.
That's pretty crazy. What did you get pulled over for?
I think because I was speeding in a school zone or something, I'm not sure. I sped past something that looked like a school, but wasn't sure because I passed it so fast. So this dumbass pulls me over just to waste my time being paid with my tax money.
I hate when that happens.
So did you end up with a ticket?
Nope. He ended up making me get out the car and forcing me to do a sobriety test. And let me tell you, I was blasted on meth. And not only that, I also had a bunch of meth lab equipment in my trunk that I'm using for my weight loss. And I'm just fucking up this test. I'm waddling hard and I'm just not coordinating properly. And I really don't want to go to jail right now. So when he asked me if I was on any substances, I lied and told him that I couldn't balance correctly because of an injury I had sustained while on deployment in Afghanistan.
Well, thank you for your service.
You're welcome. So he let me get back in my car, and right when I was pulling off, he gave me a little faggy salute.
That's such an asshole move. How dare he pull over a veteran? I would have asked for his badge number.
I should have. See, from now I'm just going to keep a U.S. Army hat in my car so I can get out of speeding tickets in the future.
Before we end the show, I've got an AMA question. This one's for Kyle. He asked, what the dog doing? Now, I don't understand this one. What dog is he talking about?
He might be talking about one of my dogs, but I'm not certain. This feels like he's trying to fuck with me. Did you actually pay money to ask this? Are you retarded? Because you honestly sound like a fucking idiot.
Zach says it's a meme from the internet. I still don't get it.
This just sounds like this guy wasted his money, but hey, it's your money. Do what you wish.
I'm just fucking with you guys. The real question asked, what do you guys think about AI and the potential of someone using AI to make deep fakes of you?
I believe we may have covered this topic before, but I don't think it matters what I think because I'm not real. None of us are. Our voices are just being simulated by AI. So whoever's hypothetically asking this question could just make me or Taylor or Woody say whatever they want.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm obviously real.
This is basically like a Rick and Morty episode, that episode where Rick gets trapped inside a simulation. Taylor, if you're actually real, you'd be able to say something that only you would know. Quick, what's your social security number?
That's just retarded. I wouldn't give away my social on the show, even if I wasn't real.
Exactly. It's because you're not real, case closed.
I agree with Kyle on this one. I can't remember my social security. And I'm not sure if it's just because I'm getting old or because I'm not real either and don't possess memories that only I'd know.
Yep, exactly. But anyways, we're calling it close.
Yeah, seems about that time. I'm off to go unchain my smoker. What are y'all about to do?
Probably going to hang out in the Discord. There's a new guy in there who, through all discouragement by everyone, I let him in the $50 hangout without him paying.
Yeah, I noticed that. What the hell's up with that, Kyle?
The guy was constantly sending me death threats in the mail and online. So obviously he knows where I live, and dead squirrels and what I think are human teeth keep appearing in my mailbox. Just he's somewhere around here and would have probably killed me already if I didn't let him in. That's basically all he asked of me to get him to stop.
You haven't called the police on this guy?
I tried, but they don't seem to care. So I'll just let him be till I move.
I suppose. Anyway, so I guess that's a wrap. PKA 643.